Hello YouTube, and welcome to another episode of the TechRadar Show. Your hosts this week are Hugh Langley.
It's me.
And Mark Chaxfield, which is me. So we're going to kick off with the biggest news of the week, which is obviously...
the waterproof Kobo e-reader?
Never speak to me again, Hugh.
Okay.
No, it's obviously Twitch, which has just been bought by Amazon for $970 million. So Hugh,
That's
Twitch...
a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, isn't it? We all thought it was going to be Google. It turned out to be Amazon.
I know.
What is going on?
That was exactly my reaction. It wasn't... you know, there's a lot of anger about this, and as we'll get into, you know, I think quite rightly. But yeah, my first reaction was just surprise. Like, Amazon, I didn't think that. But then you think, well, okay, Amazon has shown that it's interested in gaming. You know, when the Fire TV was launched, it showed off. It's building up a gaming studio. It's going to do its own thing there. So maybe this plays into that. It's
not just an e-tailer store anymore, is it? They've got so much more under their belt, and I think having Twitch is another great acquisition because of the popularity of it. Whether the Twitch users see it as a great acquisition or not, I'm not so sure. Amazon isn't seen as, it's sometimes seen as a little bit evil in some eyes.
I think the problem is, it is branching out, but at its core, its bread and butter is still selling stuff. And I think so when you think Amazon's bought Twitch, you think, okay, how long is it going to be before, you know, Amazon says it's not going to meddle too much, but everyone says that. You know, Facebook said that when they bought Oculus. You know, I think Amazon will probably step in.
It does feel like the Facebook Oculus thing, though, doesn't it? Where it's such a strange acquisition, but if you look a little bit deeper, it starts to make a modicum of sense, really. And it'd be interesting what Amazon do with it. The thing I worry about is that with Twitch, it could have been an amazing 24-hour gaming channel, and now what's it going to be? Is it going to be sliced off? Is it going to be commoditized?
Exactly.
How will Amazon going to work? There are no answers to that, but we're guessing that it's going to be part of their love watching this game. Why don't you buy it from Amazon?
That's the most cynical, and that's what I'm thinking. You know, it is cynical, but how long is it going to be for Amazon's start pinging up links? You know, because like I said, that's at their core what they do. And to me, it's the same thing I said when Facebook bought Oculus. We're living in a time now where we don't see these companies grow into something like their own Apples and their own Googles and their own Facebooks, because they get bought out by Apples and Googles and Facebooks and Amazon. And it's a shame because, you know, I still wish I'd have liked to see Oculus grow into its own thing. You know, it could have been massive, and the same with Twitch, like you said, a 24-hour gaming channel. It could be huge. I mean, think of how far it's come since it was just a Justin TV spin-off.
I was going to say, you see how big it was. It became a Justin TV spin-off, and then Justin TV disappeared, and Twitch became the main commodity. I think that's fascinating. Really.
So, I mean, you have to wonder. Yes, I mean, you could also, to make another parallel, you could say, well, with the money now, what could Twitch do? Potentially, maybe Twitch could go further. Maybe it could become that 24-hour gaming channel better because it's now owned by Amazon, the same way that Oculus can now do so much more because they've got so much more money. But I just think it's a shame, you know, that we don't see people these companies grow enough before they're suddenly swooped up.
My big worry, I think, is lawsuits. It happened with YouTube. So YouTube was bought obviously by Google, and then that's when the lawyers looked at it and went, right, we're going to start suing you because we know you've got a lot of money and we'll start getting cash out of you. It does feel that some of Twitch's thing is a great streaming channel, but the music and is getting clamped down.
It is
and
starting
things like
to now,
and also games companies, they love it,
Yeah.
but they could be looking again, why are you streaming footage from my game? What's going on? So that could be a worry for Twitch as well. The actual whole way it works could fundamentally change, because now it's got a big backer. The lawyers might start creeping in and trying to get cash.
I hope that's not the case, because the great thing as well, we've seen other people kind of embrace Twitch, like Sony and Microsoft, like sort of integrating it into the consoles, which is brilliant. I mean, you wouldn't think that would happen, and now, you know, we're seeing that, and so it's growing so fast, and you know, you just got to hope that Amazon can kind of stand back and let it continue to grow and feed it the money it needs
its
and allow it to.
If that disappears, then Twitch disappears.
Well, it's nothing without that.
So it needs to be very hands off and make sure that it can still grow, because it's doing very well at the moment, but it's got possibility of being even bigger. I don't think everybody on the high street knows what Twitch is yet. Actually having Amazon on board could possibly mean that if they put that on the front page, go, here's a game to preview it, have a look at the Twitch thing, that's when it would absolutely explode. That is one of the biggest sites in the world there. So.
Exactly, yeah. So the other interesting news of the week is that Facebook's finally going to do something about all these clickbait stories that endlessly flood our feeds. You know, you won't believe what will happen next. you know, click here, and Facebook's saying, okay, we're actually going to do something about it now, which is great. I mean, I'm pleased about that because I get a lot of these.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's getting to the point now where it's ridiculous. Like, I log onto Facebook and it's just spam.
Yeah, it is a massive problem. There's no point going on Facebook when you know there's going to be spam everywhere. But Facebook primarily is meant to be about what your friends are doing, about maybe the bands that you follow and things like that. That's not spam. You've liked. Well, when you like something, that means that it becomes part of your Facebook feed. So you like these bands, you like the movies, fine, that all come through. I don't class that as spam. No. Spam is when people start sharing from interesting websites these clickbaity headlines, and you click through and you go to, it could be a rather dodgy website to be honest, and it's content that isn't very good. And it is absolutely, at the moment, Facebook is awash with it, and luckily they're saying they're going to start doing something about it. Whether that actually means that we'll start seeing a diminishing return on what's actually there, I don't know, because Facebook have said this before, that they'll start clamping down on things.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, some of these dodgy websites, well, like some of them you'll see like, look at this dog that literally grew wings, click here, and you go, and there's nothing there, and it's just completely...
Yeah, it's like the muscle, grow muscle in 3 days. I know you tried it, it didn't work, did it?
No, really? It didn't, it never did.
But they're pushing these so-called truths, and, it shouldn't really be there. It is the very old school version of spam that we used to get through, well, we still do get through our email inboxes, but luckily we've got a spam filter. Facebook needs a spam filter, whether it comes from the top and their own actual algorithm. Yeah. But I think the big problem about Facebook at the moment is their algorithm. Yes. Popular posts that get liked all the time, whether by robots or real people, come to the top of your feed. So if these posts are constantly getting liked by whatever they're getting liked by, they're going to be at the top of your feed again. And that means you're going to keep seeing them. So the best way for Facebook to do it is just completely get rid of them. Yeah.
But it's interesting that Facebook's doing that, while Twitter, on the other hand, seems to be going the other way by pushing stuff onto our feeds, like tweets other people have favorited, or tweets from people, other people that are following that you follow, and it's stuff that you're like, well, why is this on my feed? I don't want this. And Twitter's sort of opening that out a bit more and sort of going the other direction.
Yeah, Twitter's it seems cleaner because you kind of, like I said, there are some things creeping through, but you kind of choose what you see on Twitter, and you could delve into what Facebook is like at the moment by clicking on a hashtag or something like that. That's when Twitter becomes a bit of an issue, because you've got so many stupid tweets coming through. Facebook needs that system. It hasn't got that system at the moment. Everything just goes through the homepage, and it needs a filter. I don't quite know what that filter is. I'm hoping it will be them stopping it before it even reaches. But I don't know. Facebook have put a lot of stuff through. Just started seeing auto adverts as well. So that's fine. They've got to make money. I don't agree with it 100% because there's a lot of auto videos at the moment, I'm sure, that are clogging Facebook feeds. But if they're going to put those in, and we've got the spam on top of that,
it just becomes over. Well,
you can't read it.
Eventually, it becomes what happened to MySpace. And I honestly think Twitter's in the same, possibly in the same danger here, because it's opening up our feeds to tweets that we're not following. That's a problem, I think. Things like they're doing sort of buy buttons and stuff like that, which isn't too bad, but I worry where that's going to go. And eventually we're just going to have, if we're not careful, Facebook and Twitter are going to be so overloaded with spam. And then what happens then is exactly what history repeats itself. People jump ship to the next social network that comes along. That's why people jump to Facebook. Facebook was a new thing. It was different. It was slightly different to MySpace, but at its core, it's the same thing. But it was clean. It was a way of...
we work on a website. We know that websites need to make money. And Facebook does need to make money. And it makes a lot of money because of what we've seen is so popular. Twitter hasn't quite got that revenue stream yet. So they're at the beginning of that test bed of trying to figure out where the money is coming from. Facebook is making a lot of money, but it needs to figure out that at some point the people will start disappearing from Facebook. They will. There'll be dormant accounts where they don't really care anymore. I personally am not going on Facebook as much at the moment either, because there's so many auto videos going on, things like that I can't actually see what my mates are doing.
No, exactly. I don't see anything interesting anymore because it's all just that or ice bucket challenges. That's it.
Well, that is it.
And I genuinely think it's a problem, and I honestly think it might not be long before we see another social network pop up. That is the one that everyone's going to jump over to.
I agree. And I think the other thing that's slightly annoying about the way Facebook does stuff is that you can hide these posts, but it's an actual, you have to go in and hide them yourselves. It's very much you have to do it, and I think that's not right. I think it should be maybe asked before, we're going to fill your stuff with spam. Do you want to know about weight loss, weight gain, whatever? Yes or no? Most people will say no. Some people might go, actually, I need to lose a bit of weight, and hopefully if I click through on one of these clickbait articles, I'll do it.
So in conclusion, spam on social networks, big thumbs down.
Bad.
Big thumbs
do
down.
not like. So next week is the arrival of the biggest European technology show, IFA, in Berlin, and TechRadar will be there. There has been a lot of rumours about what's going to be launched at the show. It used to be a show about TVs. It used to be a show about audio, about home entertainment systems. It's phones and phones and phones and tablets again, really, isn't it?
And wearables. I think this year, I mean, I'm surprised. I mean, there's going to be a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think wearables for me are going to be the big one here.
It does feel like the big 3 or 4 companies will probably launch some sort of wearable, whether it's a fitness tracker or a smartwatch. That's what all the rumours are pointing to. Do you think this is the tipping point now? We're starting to see more come through?
I think it could be. Well, I think it's difficult to say, but I think we're genuinely going to see some smartwatches and wearables that are actually nice to wear. It looks like LG's teased that they're going to do another G-Watch already, like 2 months after the
And
G-Watch.
is that the Android Wear? Or
it'll be Android Wear, but it'll be round, because they've shown the teaser and it's round, and I'm like, that looks really nice. You know, like the G-Watch I like, but I hate the design. It's so square and just a chunk on your wrist. So I'm all for that. I mean, Asus also doing a smartwatch. It looks more square, kind of rectangular, but curved screen could be nice, you know, and also rumoured that it's going to be the most affordable Android Wear device, which is actually quite a big deal.
Yeah, it is. Well, they're all very expensive at the moment.
Exactly.
So. Wearable technology does seem to be going more towards people that are actually, obviously, that wear watches want to look cool with something on the wrist. They don't want a big chunky kind of.
No. Because they don't want to replace their existing nice watch with a horrible bit of tech. You know, this is what I've said before. You don't want to be like, oh, that's a nice bit of tech on your wrest. You want to say that's a nice watch, always, and that's.
By the way, it tracks my.
But and it also, you know, look at this funny video of a dog flying. But like, you know, that's the kind of thing what it should be about. And I think finally we're starting to see people realizing that, oh, okay, actually that's what people want. They want a nice looking device, almost like the design comes first, and then. And then the function afterwards.
Well, this will be my 6th or 7th year going to IFA, and I think I will be wearing a fitness tracker this year. The amount of miles, kilometres that we do, because it's such a huge show. But like I said before, home entertainment is still a big, massive thing at IFA. So I think we're going to see some more next-gen TVs. LG have already hinted that we'll see the 4K OLED TV. I personally think OLED's a dying breed now, but it sounds like they're trying to show off the thinnest, the most powerful TVs around. Samsung will obviously be doing the same as well. But also, again, back to the smartwatches, it's all about connectivity. I think that there'll be a lot more connectivity with phones and home entertainment, and also just about the home.
Well, the whole Internet of Things. I think Samsung sounds like they're going to go quite big. on
they've got a whole. I think they've got a whole section for smart home technology, which will be linking up your fridge to your toaster to everything.
And everyone's doing it. LG are doing it. Arcos are going to do some stuff. I mean, you know. Arcos, not a brand we usually get excited about, but offering budget smart home stuff's quite interesting.
Well, Arcos always do stuff. They're always one of the first to do things. Whether they do it good or bad is something, but at least they're dipping their toes in it.
And the stuff they've shown off so far is quite good, and for an affordable price as well, so I think that's good. In terms of phones, I don't know what we're expecting too much, maybe Samsung.
There's a possibility that we're probably going to see the Note 4. Basically,
we know we're going to see the Note 4.
Phablets, and they've all but said we're going to see the Note 4.
And the LG's stylus, the G2 stylus, is going to be their kind of competitor to the Note 4.
So it's interesting that they're launching that, but it sounds like it's more of a mid-range. But again, it's all about price, really. I think a lot of people want to, I hate the word phablet, but a lot of people do want the bigger size screens, but they don't want to spend the premium price, and Samsung's always going to be quite a premium price. So LG coming in with a bit of a mid-range one, as long as you don't mind having a 720p screen, it could be a really big option.
And I think actually a surprising potential sort of limelight still, it might be Huawei with they're doing a Sapphire version of the P7, which I think is interesting because Sapphire, you know, people starting to talk about it with the whole iPhone 6 thing, looking less likely the iPhone 6 will actually have Sapphire now, possibly. So, you know, Huawei could be the first to do like an affordable Sapphire screen on it.
But you've just said it, the iPhone 6. This is a show that comes a week before the potential launch of the iPhone 6. So what we've got is smart home connectivity, Apple have already heavily hinted that's going to be on iOS 8.
Yeah.
Well, we know it's in iOS 8.
Yeah.
Sapphire screens,
Yeah.
possibly we won't see that.
No.
But what we will probably see is a bigger screen for the iPhone
Yes.
as well.
Yeah.
But a lot of the stuff that we're seeing are maybe a wearable. We've heard delays on the iWatch, but they're definitely looking into the tracking stuff.
Yeah.
It always feels like IFA shows a massive amount of big stuff from the big companies, but a week later,
this is the thing.
Apple
it feels like
as
many people are going to try and fire early.
Well,
yeah. You know, this is why I think LG is doing another smartwatch now, and I think Samsung's doing theirs. I think they're ready. You know, I think the iWatch is imminent now, and I think that they're preparing themselves by trying to get out as early as possible. And that's why Huawei's doing the Sapphire now. And, it feels like everyone's just trying to get in just ahead of Apple.
But I like that smartwatches seem to be getting better and nicer looking, more intuitive.
Yeah.
Because when Apple came into the smartphone game, the phones out at that precise point were pretty rubbish. If it gets to a point where the smartwatches actually are pretty decent and there's not much to change, then Apple are going to find it's a really interesting sector
well,
to
they
get into.
delayed the iWatch so much now that it's getting to the point where people have refined the iWatch, the smartwatch.
It's like Apple TV, which is not. Well, Apple TV's out, but the Apple TV hasn't been released.
Yeah.
And these TVs now with WebOS and things like that, they're getting
better
stunning,
and better. Yeah.
Absolutely stunning. So Apple to come in and redefine a whole other area again is going to be more difficult. That's what it's going to be interesting.
Tricky. Yeah. So that's it for another TechRadar show. Don't forget to let us know what you think in the comments below.
We'd love to know what you think about Amazon buying Twitch, if you're affected by Facebook spam, and if you're looking forward to IFA 2014. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Fly. Right.
There's a fly?
It was a fly.
Like,
it's there, look, it's trying to attack us.
Okay.